E-commerce sales. How do you go about it? Now, this is something that I get asked, honestly guys, I get asked this so much. You know, how does e-com sales differ to local business sales? You know, for, you know, if you've got an online agency or marketing agency, when it comes to selling the client, how does it differ between e-com and local lead gen? Obviously, majority of you guys know I personally own an e-com agency, so I personally get asked how to do e-com sales a lot. So in this video, I'm going to be addressing that exact question. Now, guys, just before we jump into the video, you guys know what to do. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. It massively helps out with the YouTube algorithm and essentially pushes my channel out so that I can help more people just like you. So how does e-commerce sales differ? How do they differ? You know, how is it different between, as I say, local lead gen and e-commerce? The biggest thing, okay, the biggest difference lies within the explanation of how you're going to get them the results that you said you can get them. In local lead gen, you discuss lifetime value. You know, in local lead gen, when you discuss how you price them and discuss your pricing, you know, you talk about lifetime value of a customer. What's that lifetime value worth to the client? So if you can bring them two customers every month through the ads you're running, whatever it is, if you can bring them 2 customers every single month, how much is that worth to them over the course of a year? Then you can kind of work out your pricing from that. Now, if you're wondering about how to do pricing for e-com, you know, how much should you charge your clients? Go and watch one of my previous videos called literally how to charge e-com clients. And that kind of explains that. Now, that was just a touch on, like, that's the main difference, is the lifetime value and talking about pricing and whatnot. Now, how you go about talking about the service delivery. So how are you actually going to deliver on bringing them X results that you've said that you can bring them? When it comes to talking about service delivery, that's the second, in terms of, you know, charging is probably one of the biggest differences. Now, service delivery, when you talk about service delivery, how are you going to deliver on the results that you've said you are going to get them? That's where the second biggest differentiating aspect lies. And within this part, you need to talk about ROAS and budget. Personally, I think those are the 2 biggest things, ROAS and budget. ROAS, obviously, because that's like the KPI that you're all optimizing for. You know, for every dollar that the client's spending, how much are you bringing them back? Is it $2? Is it $1.50? Is it $5? That's one of the biggest, one of the most important things when it comes to e-com is ROAS. Now, the reason I say budget though is because it's not hard to get a 10 ROAS on $1. You know, if you spend $1 and you get a sale for $10, that's 10 ROAS. So the ROAS looks really good, but the budget it's not too great. So you need to talk about, like, if you're either doing it yourself or you've got a contractor on board, you need to talk about the budget that you're spending and the ROAS that you're getting. So, because like I say, if you spend $1 and get a $10 sale, you've got a 10 ROAS. 10 ROAS is amazing, but spending $1 and getting $10 back, like, that's all you've spent. It's good, but it's not the best. Like, $10, nobody cares about that. That said, if you spent $10,000 and brought in $100,000, the same ROAS, but obviously bigger budget, that is absolutely amazing. That is insane. So that's where you're gonna become very, very valuable to the client. So that's just something I wanna mention. Talk about the budget that you've spent and then talk about the ROAS that you was able to generate using that budget. That's basically one of the main things in terms of service delivery. You want to talk about how you go about structuring it from a very, very bird's eye level view. So, you know, when you go to talk about your service delivery, how you're going to get them the results you've said, you want to talk about how you go about delivering results, or how you go about structuring the campaigns, how you go about, you know, if you're doing 3-month minimums, which you all should be, how do you kind of structure the 3 months in terms of service delivery? So, you know, for me personally, the first month is very, very heavily tailored to testing. We want to figure out what's working, we want to see what's working, see what's not, scale what is, cut what is, and all that kind of stuff. Month 2, month 3 was where we start to scale. Obviously, retargeting is running through the whole entire process in the background, picking that low-hanging fruit. That's me explaining my service from a very, very bird's eye level view. It goes a lot more granular, but the client doesn't really, they don't really care too much about the granular details. All they want to know is from a bird's eye level view, how are you going about structuring it? What are you doing? And how are you kind of approaching it, right? So that's the first thing. Moving on to the second thing, and this, Technically, this applies for all sales, local lead gen, e-com, any niche. It applies to all sales. That said, I think using it for e-com is very, very powerful. And the reason I say that is because I personally use it and I see how powerful it is. So this is a sales technique that I actually, I have a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini. Now he is kind of like a psychologist, more so than like a businessman. So psychology is a massive part of sales, as I'm sure majority of you guys know. So if at any point you're able to implement some sort of psychology, some sort of, not mind tricks, because it's not that, it's just simple psychological, kind of factors that just help convert people. It just genuinely helps change their state of mind in terms of seeing you as somebody that's like trying to sell them something to seeing you as somebody who can be genuinely valuable to their business. So one of the biggest things that I kind of read in that book, and also that I have been implementing for months and months and months now, probably close to a year, is the whole thing of comparison before you explain your price. So, it's funny, I was actually on a coaching call a few days ago where I was explaining this, and that kind of gave me the idea to do a kind of a video about it. And that's essentially, when it comes to pricing of any kind, if you say a price, let's say for easy numbers, $1,000, okay, $1,000. If I say directly in front of that $1,000, directly in front of it, I say $10,000. So I keep saying $10,000, $10,000, $10,000, $10,000, and then I say $1,000. $1,000 does not sound that bad anymore. All I've said is the word 10,000 in front of it, right? I've not sold you on anything. I've not said anything else. All I've been saying is 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, and then directly after it, now I say 1,000. It sounds very, very cheap. It sounds very, very, just not as much, just because in front of it, I've said 10,000. Conversely, if I was to say that same number, in this case, $1,000, right? If I was to say that exact same number, that said this time directly in front of it, I say $100, right? So $100, $100, $100, then I say 1,000. The same number seems so much bigger because directly in front of it, I've said $100 instead of $10,000. So you really, really want to leverage this. You want to use this within your sales meetings, because I can guarantee you the frame of mind that they have around your service fee will completely shift, just because directly in front of it, you're saying a number that will be a lot higher than what you're actually charging. So the best way to go about it is kind of in this way. The way that I personally like to go about it is by saying to them, going through the process, going through the sales script, whatever it is that you use. Then you want to go through your, explaining, like I was mentioning before, explaining how you're actually going to get them the results that you've said you are. And then from there, obviously you want to ask them any questions that they have, go through that kind of stuff. And then from there, when it comes to closing them, comes to pricing and telling them how much you want to charge and whatnot, every single time I do the same thing. You want to talk about what you could charge. You literally say like, look, looking historically at my current and past clients, we've never really seen anything lower than a 4 ROAS. For example, we've never seen anything really lower than a 4 ROAS. So technically, I could come in here and charge you 10,000 per month, and you would still not only be making money, but I would, myself, my agency would still be an ridiculously valuable asset to your business each and every month, right? Because you may be paying us $10,000 on the front end, but we are consistently bringing you back in anywhere from 40,000 to probably even 80 or 100,000 a month. So, I mean, I could easily come in here, like I said, charge you $10,000 per month, and like I say, you'll still be making so much money. You'll still be wildly profiting from everything that we'll be doing on our end. But that said, I'm not going to do that because I understand 10,000 from face value is quite a bit. So that, as I said, I'm not going to charge you that. But what I am going to do is go ahead, charge you 4,000 per month for the first 3 months. After the first 3 months, we can kind of sit down, reevaluate, see where we're at, and then from there we can kind of take the necessary steps forward. So something like that just makes $4,000 seem tiny. I'm sure just you listening there, you sat there watching, it sounded like $4,000 was very, very small. Just by you sat there watching, you know that I'm kind of role playing this, but it still seemed so small because I kept talking about 10,000, 10,000. Spend 10,000, I could bring you 40, 80, 100,000 per month. That said, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna go ahead and charge you a very, very small, minute 4,000 per month service fee. It just seems so insignificant in comparison to not only what you could spend, but also in comparison to what you'll be bringing them in per month. So by you implementing this, you'll just change kind of the whole closing aspect of your meetings. I can guarantee you, and I promise you, you'll be so much more successful in closing higher ticket retainers. And like I say, you'll just get clients they'll be happy to pay you there and then. And as soon as they say yes on the phone, on the call, on the Zoom, whatever it is, face to face, as soon as they say yes, you want to get the invoice sent over to them immediately and get them to pay on the call. While they're still that high in terms of excited, they're ready to go, they've got that fire lit inside them, they want to go, you need them to get them to pay there and then. And then from there you can send them over the onboarding and you guys can get started and you can start delivering your insane results as you promised them. Again, you could literally just listen to this last 3-4 minutes of this video about me talking about that comparison, what you say directly in front of the price. You can literally just watch that, walk away, and I promise you, your meetings will just change. The landscape of your meetings, the successfulness of your meetings, honestly, I can almost guarantee that you're gonna be far more successful in closing those high ticket retainers. Just remember guys, it's not the price that you say, it's what you say directly in front of it will determine whether your price is accepted or whether it seems like a lot. It's not what you say, it's what you say directly in front of it. And I'm a very big advocate of that. I say that to all my coaching students, and also I personally implement it into my agency. And honestly guys, like, it's just so valuable. So honestly, that's basically all I personally believe is like the main differences between an e-com agency and a local business agency in terms of sales. How you talk about your service. You're not talking about CPL, cost per lead. You want to be talking about ROAS and the budget, how much you can spend and how much ROAS you can still warrant at that amount of spend. And then also a bit more of a universal kind of sales technique. Technically you could use it for local lead gen, but I've only ever used it for e-com, and I just see amazing results with kind of the whole thing of not what you say, it's what you say directly in front of it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, once again, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.